Let's make Blackberry Bliss Cobbler. I received a new casserole dish this weekend, so I had to try it out. So this is what I made for us this weekend, and it was so good. So we are going to be using the standard ingredients that you probably are used to seeing for cobblers, but there's a couple of tricks I can show you to make sure you get that soft, gooey center and still have your crispy, buttery topping. So we're going to be using 1 can of blackberry pie filling, 1 cup of washed blackberries, and more if you want to garnish with those, 2 cups of whole milk, 2 cups of white sugar, 2 cups of self-rising flour, 2 teaspoons of vanilla flavoring, and 1 stick of butter. We'll need a 9 by 12 casserole dish, a deep one. And to that, we're going to add our 1 stick of butter. And we're going to put that in the oven to start out with at 400 degrees and let that butter melt. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to add in our 2 cups of sugar, our 2 cups of milk, and our 2 teaspoons of vanilla flavoring. And we won't add our flour yet, and that's very important if you want your topping to be crispy and buttery and not just have the whole thing be gooey. So I'm using some of my homemade vanilla here, so you guys let me know if you want me to show you how to do that because I love my homemade vanilla. So we're just going to mix this very, very well. We don't want there to be any sugar left on the bottom. We want it to be a complete emulsion here before we add anything else to this. And that's sort of the trick to have that separation of your layers, is this part. Once we have that mixed up, we're going to go ahead and add our 2 cups of flour into this. And while we're mixing our flour, we just want to mix that very gently. We don't want any dry flour pieces, but we also don't want to mix it all the way in. We want the flour to form like a foam that floats on top of our other liquid. So we're just going to very gently mix that until we have all of the flour is wet. There's no dry lumps, but we have that separation of the two layers. Once we have that mixed up, by this time our butter should be nice and melted and starting to brown a little bit and get bubbly. So we want to pull that casserole dish out of the oven with our hot butter, and we're going to pour this batter directly on top of the butter. So that will serve to sort of seal the bottom in and start puffing up the top for us. So we'll just very gently pour that batter right into the butter, and we don't mix this at all. Once we have all this in our casserole dish, then we're going to take our blackberry pie filling and just spoon that into this mixture. Just spoon it across the whole pan a little at a time. And then once we've got it all in there, we'll take a knife and just swirl it just a little bit. What we don't want to do is mix this together too much. So we're going to be very gentle with it. See our flour already starting to puff up on the top, and that's what we want to see. So we'll go ahead and add our whole berries, and that adds a lot of texture. It just adds a lot to it. So you don't want to skip this step, and you can save some of these to just add to for garnish to your bowl later because it's very pretty. So you just add your berries over the top. You don't have to press them down or anything. They will sink on their own. And we're ready to put this in the oven. So we're going to change our oven. We had it at 400. We're going to change our oven back to 375, and we'll cook this for about 45 minutes to an hour. Depends on your oven. Just keep an eye on it and don't overcook it because it can dry out. And there we have our beautiful Blackberry Bliss Cobbler. This is so amazing. Get you some vanilla ice cream, some whipped cream, some extra berries. And this is amazing, guys. I hope you make it. Please let me know if you do. And follow for more recipes and crafts and more recipes at #DDL recipes. Y'all have a great day.